Hello and welcome to Eco Girl in a Modern World. My name is Shelley and my channel is dedicated to talking about ways to be more environmentally friendly in a modern context. I wanted to do something fun this week. I know I missed 2 weeks ago. We were supposed to have another video, but I had a family emergency, so unfortunately I was not able to post on time. But to make up for it, I decided to go ahead and do a video that I think that we've been long awaiting for. My fashion videos here on the Eco channel get a lot of views, and I'm actually very excited to talk about it. So I decided to go ahead and make today's video about the transition from summer to fall and winter fashion trends. And of course, my channel is dedicated to talking about ways to be environmentally friendly. So anytime I talk about fashion on this channel at all, it is always encouraged that you buy secondhand. We encourage you to follow kind of 5 different fashion, eco fashion rules. And I've said this from the very first video. If you watch my fast fashion video, there is way too much production of clothes made already. There's everything that you're looking for on this list is already in creation. There's really no reason for you to go to a retailer to buy any of this new. And you especially do not want to buy this from either Amazon or Temu or Shein or any of those fast fashion brands. Those fast fashion brands really pollute the earth with the way that they produce clothes. The clothes are not high quality, and they're really just made of really poor materials. Now, some of the materials that you can look to avoid, and again, you can, if you're thrifting, you can just look at the tag, or if you're shopping online at like secondhand, like Etsy or Mercari or eBay or ThredUp. Any of these really nice secondhand retailers, just look at the materials list. And again, if you're buying something, we try to the best way to be environmentally friendly is to buy natural materials, like something that is made out of cotton, linen, silk, hemp, or wool. Now, of course, there are some materials that are harder to launder, and we'll talk about that a little bit in this video. Things that are wool or sometimes even cotton can pill, but, basically you want to look for something that's a natural fiber that is easy to launder. So that's something else you can look for on the tag, as well as whether or not you have to hand wash something. And even things like silk, if it's 100% silk, that's very easy. You can wash it on a delicate cycle or hand wash it, hang it up, and it dries very quickly. Now, a few of the materials that you definitely do not want to buy new or at all would be polyester or acrylic. Acrylic is kind of the worst of the two. What it is both polyester and acrylic, they don't breathe very well. They're synthetic fibers. Polyester is created from oil, from gas, petroleum, and believe it or not, even if you buy like a net fabric, it does not breathe well, and it is using resources that we don't have very much. Plus, it does not biodegrade very well. It would be about 700 years before it biodegrades. Acrylic is a little bit worse than that. Acrylic is just like polyester in the fact that it's made of a synthetic material that's not good for you. The other thing is, even though acrylic feels so soft, every single time you wash acrylic or wash polyester, little pieces of the material break off, and they become microplastics that are in our water. And it's not all gloom and doom. There are filters that can take microplastics out of your wash, but the best practice is to not wash anything that's made of that material. That would be the best surefire way to not put that into our water systems. So not buying it in the first place is usually the best way to go. So as we talk through these fashion trends, those are the things to keep in mind. Try to look for 100% natural materials, try to buy secondhand, and definitely all of these trends are very easy to do for that. But let's go ahead and jump right in. First off, I'm going to try to get through this in 20 minutes. Let's see if I can do it. First off, anytime we talk about fall, winter, we are really talking about the bridge of summer into fall, right? Even if you watch this at the time it posts, we're coming up on the 1st of August, and it is back to school time. You're seeing school supplies in the stores, so you know that students are going back to school. So it is a time of wanting cool new clothes. But it is also a very much a bridge time because it is still hot as the blazes, and I do anticipate, hashtag global warming, that it is going to be a longer summer. It's probably going to remain like summer temperatures well into September, contingent on where you live in the world. So what we're probably going to be doing is just like you do from spring to summer, is there's going to be some transitioning. Now, a lot of the things that I'm seeing, the top trends that I'm seeing is kind of a 90s flashback. And this is kind of exciting for me because I was a teenager of the 90s, so I pretty much feel like I'm just wearing all of the same clothes I did as a teen. But to kind of go into it a little bit, the 90s throwback really is talking about a lot of that 90s themed trends. And so first off, to get into it, you're going to see a lot of slip skirts. Like in the 90s, there were a lot of silk column dresses, but here we're going to be seeing a lot more of that kind of fashion, but in skirts particularly. And again, usually if it's like a satin material, it's going to be usually polyester. You can find silk. I would say if you go on a secondhand retailer like eBay, search for Banana Republic 100% silk. Again, all of these retailers are not the greatest with their production, but if you're buying something that's already created, that garment's already in existence. You're keeping it from being made again from synthetic materials, and believe it or not, there's a lot of retailers that sell a silk skirt, and that's a good investment. If you buy it secondhand, it's not going to be as expensive, but it's still a natural fiber. But silk skirts or satin skirts have been very popular. I also see a lot of those shell dresses, particularly ones with like spaghetti straps. That was a very like kind of staple in the 90s. It was kind of like, it is a little 90s minimalism. And a lot of the base colors in the 90s were like grays and burgundies. And we're going to talk burgundy again in a minute when we talk about bags and jackets. But those kind of shelled dresses with either solid straps or spaghetti straps, that's one that you kind of see a lot. You're going to see a lot of that. I think we're also seeing this is a bridge from summer into fall. You're seeing a little bit of that sheer skirt trend. You know how at the beginning of spring there was a lot of like skirts with sheer overlay, or hot pants, like literally underwear with sheer skirt over it. I think that is transitioning into more of a top. You're seeing a lot of sheer tops being worn over tanks. And one trend that I'm actually really excited to see that I thought was really pretty, I actually saw this out in the real world. I was waiting for lunch and I saw somebody wear, in particularly white sheer, like white floral sheer. White has been very popular for the summer. I feel like it's a lot of the fashion channels that I follow here on YouTube talked about, going to New York and seeing a lot of maxi skirts that were white, but I happened to see a lot of white sheer floral. And I was waiting for lunch and I saw a girl very trendy wearing just like a white linen top, very basic, and then over it was kind of like a bomber jacket that was sheer with white floral decal. And that also kind of plays into the floral applique trend that you were kind of seeing, but I'm seeing that as very popular. I think it's just, again, it's the summer white, or the kind of white dress base that you've been kind of seeing, but I've been seeing that in both jacket form, which is almost kind of wedding like. But one other variation that I think is going to transition into the fall is I'm seeing it where it's kind of like a basic knit shirt with puff sleeves, but the back panel of the shirt is sheer. I think that's very pretty. Now, again, it comes with its challenges. You either have to wear, like a basic, tank with no bra under it, or a nude shirt under it, or the last option is to go braless. And so that does make it a little bit edgy, but I do think that that's kind of like an elevated basic. It's not your standard white shirt. It has an element of surprise to it. And actually, I am going to be endeavoring to make a kind of fall version of that. I actually have some, a couple years back, Taylor Swift wore this really pretty applique dress that was more fall colors. And I'm wondering if I can't I'm actually going to kind of use the pattern of the white shirt to see if I can't do that same sheer back panel and make it myself. So that's going to be a little craft project, but I think those sheer backs are very pretty, and again the kind of fall colors kind of play into it. Now, one other 90s throwback that you're seeing a lot, which kind of plays into it, is as you go into the fall and you're going to see a lot of like kind of maxi skirts, you are going to see a lot of cropped jackets as well, and particularly cropped button downs. But you'll see again also there's going to be a lot of cropped outerwear jackets as well. So the more cropped style of jacket is going to be more in trend, and you're going to see a lot of plaid. Like plaid everything, plaid pants, plaid skirts, plaid jackets. You're gonna see, I think this is like 90s grunge, and again, I feel like I can put up pictures. I feel like I'm just reliving my teenagehood here, but you can find that very easily secondhand. Actually, you know, I actually found a jacket. I have 100% cotton cargo pants, and then 100% cotton kind of cropped with fringe plaid blue jacket or shacket, like a jacket, and I thought that was going to be very cool, and you know that as you transition into the cooler months, that's going to be very popular. The other thing is that if you don't have a particularly cropped jacket, you could either DIY if you have a button down that you don't care about so much that you want to cut and crop, you know, that fringe is kind of going to be in. Otherwise, you can just tie it. I think, you know, like just tying a shirt, you know, so it looks like a cropped, I think would also be a good variation without you having to, you know, hack up your clothes. But just know that whether it's a you know, if it's a layered look where you start with just a shirt that's lighter, that's a button down that you know make to look more cropped, or if you actually go into a structured jacket. And again, plaid is going to be very popular. It's going to be, you know, plaid everything. And actually, I'm excited for that because I have a lot of plaid skirts. That's very academia, very dark academia. But any type of plaid would be very popular, including plaid pants. You know, I remember my best friend in high school, she actually stole a pair of her grandfather's plaid golfing pants. And she looked very Gwen Stefani. She really did. So one other thing that kind of, so that's kind of the 90s theme. The 90s theme is piggybacking. It is transitioning into the 2000s a little bit. So the early aughts are going to be coming into fashion. First off, I am seeing the biggest thing for the early aughts that I'm kind of seeing is you're seeing a return of a lot of dark denim with kind of that caution cone orange kind of color. That's something that I'm kind of seeing more often, and that was popular at the bridge between the late 90s and the early aughts, is that orange and dark denim kind of contrast. The other thing that I kind of see is that we did kind of go through like a wide leg pant phase a little bit, and one of the popular things in the 90s that I remembered was JNCO, JNCO jeans. They were very exaggerated, almost elephant pants, like really broad bell. And one thing I noticed is that there was a lot of skater style, like there was a lot of striped shirts that had, you know, either blaze detail, and I noticed that was paired well with the wide leg jeans. So even if you don't have like exaggerated wide leg, even though you don't have the exaggerated, you know, bell bottoms, if you have a pair of straight leg jeans or just a wider bell, you know, flared jean, which was very in at the beginning of the 2000s, that would look great with one of those kind of skater striped tops. And either that, or if you really want to go full 90s, I mean, you could, you know, you could do a pager, you could do a chain wallet. That was very popular with those type of jeans, like a little chain that would clip to your belt loop and then be attached to your wallet. And so that was a very popular style. The other thing that I see with that, and honestly, those striped shirts are very, very easy to thrift. If you go on eBay, you go on Mercari, you can look for Fubu, F-U-B-U. You can you look for Echo, E-C-K-O, Quicksilver. Here, I'll throw up a picture. This is me wearing a Billabong, which is a surf shirt. You should be able, it's going to be a little bit of a tough search because it's really hard to find this. I've noticed that, it's funny, in the 90s and the early 2000s, you still had magazines, like the influencing culture in that time was still very much like the 80s. You would see trends in fashion magazines, right? And it was an actual magazine that, everyone could have access to. Since starting in the 2000s, we really bridged into that digital where everything was posted online. And I do think that we go into a little bit of a digital dark age with that, meaning that, if you tried to Google what was popular in the 2000s, you're not going to find much because all of the articles that showed the fashion at that time was digital and has since been removed from the internet. So you really either have to go to the library, which you could do, go to the library and actually look at magazines from that time, or the modern day magazine for this generation tends to be Pinterest. And I'll actually post a few videos down below that talk about that. That's really interesting. That talks about how how Pinterest really kind of gets you to buy things, and honestly, and where we get kind of into left field, and the reason we kind of have identity crises with it is because all of the aesthetics you have, instead of having one magazine showing you what's current now, you have everybody in the world who has different styles and it's all cool, posting on Pinterest, and it's taking from all sorts of different generations. So we're not really getting a concise, wave of fashion. It's kind of all over the board. And then you also, when you go to search for styles from 2000, you're not finding much. So really, Pinterest is a great inspiration. It's where people go to see a lot of this. But one of the channels that I follow is called the Style Insider, and the lady who runs it is called Leonie, and she was actually talking about street style. And I get a lot of inspiration from this too, because technically that's the core of Pinterest. Is I like to go to the mall to get to my coffee every Saturday morning, and I'll just sit and people watch, and I see some amazing street style. Like, I see people very stylishly dressed, and it's just one of those things where instead of looking at Pinterest, if you Google street style, and there's actually a lot of good channels here on YouTube as well. I'll post a video down below that talk about that. But street style is a great inspiration for how the core of this inspiration. But if you are looking for 2000s inspiration, I would probably try to look for magazines at the library, or really kind of Google. You're going to have to get specific with some of the keywords. But skater stripes, I think, is one. It's the other thing that I'm kind of seeing is a lot of Carrie Bradshaw inspired. A lot of people have been watching. It was the 25th anniversary of Sex and the City, and media influences a lot of our culture too. If you're not seeing it in a magazine, you're seeing it on television or in movies, and that's inspiring you, right? But Carrie, the Sex and the City revival, and I have noticed a lot of the early aughts, fashion is being inspired by her too. One thing that I did see that was a bridge of both 90s and 2000s was choker necklaces, and particularly the leather ones. And I'm seeing a lot of hearts. I did see that trend, like a silver puffer heart in the movie Priscilla, and I thought you did see a lot of that in the 90s too, like leather cord with like a charm, and it was more choker. And if you watch my Instagram, I actually posted a picture of, I went on eBay, and for $20 I got a beautiful silver vintage heart. It was just the pendant. And when it came in, it was just the pendant, and I actually had some leftover leather cord. And watching a tutorial here on YouTube, I made an adjustable leather cord for the heart. And one thing that was great is I didn't realize that the heart is a bell. It It was so pretty. And if you've ever watched the Christmas movie, you know, It's a Wonderful Life, you know, every time you hear a bell ring, an angel gets its wings. So it's beautiful. And I've honestly, I'm not wearing it right now, but I've been wearing it all summer. It's been kind of my thing of the summer. But pendants or necklaces, and those can be very easily made. You know, you can find the pendant itself, you know, at antique malls, at thrift stores. You can find it online at eBay, secondhand. Those are going to be very in, and that's a very 90s, 2000 inspired. And you see a lot of Carrie Bradshaw, like a lot of the sheath dresses that we were talking about. I've seen bandanas being worn over hats. That's been a very Carrie Bradshaw thing. And one last thing that I've kind of seen, and this took me out of my comfort zone too, was Bermuda shorts, you know, kind of the more boxy square shorts. I've always been kind of anti-Bermuda shorts, and Carrie Bradshaw pulled it off too, but Carrie Bradshaw pulled off a lot, right? But I have seen that out in the wild, and I had gone to the thrift store and I found a pair. I'm actually wearing them right now. I found a pair of, let's see, they're jean Bermuda shorts, and they are the square, really boxy looking ones, and I did not think that I was going to like them. I really just did it, well, kind of as an experiment, and also because I was just tired of my shorts being kind of tight. You know, sometimes when your tummy feels full and you just don't want to wear a pair of like really constricting pants, and so I bought them, you know, for like it's 100% cotton, bought pre-owned at the thrift store. And guys, I've been living in these shorts too, and it's really about how you style them. Yes, if you wear a really loose top and really loose shorts, it can kind of look kind of frumpy. But if you have a more fitted top and you kind of layer it a little bit better, and the Style Insider is good for that too. She talks about layering and how you can layer the clothes. It really doesn't look too bad. And just in that 90s vein, I actually, while I was people watching today, and in at the mall, I saw this girl who looked so stylish. She had on kind of more of a cropped tee, a cropped button down, and a pair of like cargo Bermuda shorts, and she actually had a pair of Timberland boots on. That's very 90s. I mean, honestly, when I look at it, I kind of think of, if you want 90s inspiration, I highly encourage that you watch music videos from the 90s, like Monica's Just One of Those Days, that she just, you know, with the collars and the bows and the vests, it's very 90s inspired. But this girl I saw at the mall, oh my God, she was rocking it. She had natural hair, just kind of like what a fitted tank top, a cropped button up over it, and some looser shorts. So you're keeping it kind of
smaller on the top, looser on the bottom, and she pulled it off great. So Bermuda shorts is another thing that's kind of carrying over from summer to fall. And again, you know, they're kind of longer, a little bit more comfortable as you transition into the cooler seasons. Now, before we leave the 2000s, one other thing that I'm kind of predicting, and I'm just going to show you this real quick. Feel free to judge me, but just like, you know, there's kind of a digital dark age. If you Google 2000 earrings, you're going to find a bunch of like new interpretation of what was in the 2000s. You don't see too many pictures of it because, again, everything was digital at that time. But I do scrapbook, so feel free to judge me. But one thing I do is I do a bye-bye page, and in the bye-bye page I talk about trends. And one of the trends that you see here, if you can see it, is, well, you got flip phones, you got chandelier earrings. You also have monograms, which you kind of see here. Monograms on sweaters, on necklaces, which you've kind of seen, skinny scarves, and shield sunglasses. So you also see a bunch of different hats like fedoras, page boys, and trucker hats. The other thing is, we're going to talk about that Mirakashi, the Louis Vuitton, you know, that was popular too. But, so just going by my cheesy scrapbook, I predict, and this is not on the bingo card, but I'm determined, I'm sorry, the bingo card reference is a Kathleen Illustrated. Basically, I usually say it's not on my radar. What I don't see on our radar yet is shield sunglasses, but I predict those are coming back.
One other thing that I would see coming back if we're going in the aughts, I would definitely see fedoras, trucker hats, monograms. But one other thing that I'd like to see, and you are seeing this trending, but you're kind of seeing it in its exaggerated form, is you're seeing chandelier earrings. That was very popular in the early aughts, but in the early aughts, it was a little bit more subdued. They were chandelier, but they weren't ginormous. What you're seeing going down the runway is ginormous, like huge, big earrings. The chandelier that I'm thinking should come back are like these. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'll put them on so you can see. I'm putting this in my second hole, so it might look a little bit different. If I'm making this a cool thing, having this in your second hole, just you saw it here first. But I actually love these, and believe it or not, I've worn this. I actually have like a you know, like that caution cone orange tank top with my knit pullover and a pair of khaki Bermuda shorts, and that looks fabulous, guys. I like that. Yeah, so that's what I think is going to be a dark horse. Is if you want to go 2000s, bring back the chandelier earrings. You can put it in any hole you want, all good. And possibly shield sunglasses. I see that. Monograms we've kind of seen. We've seen the bubble necklace monograms, but you know, if you start seeing that embroidered on stuff, on bags, that would be very popular too. And those the skater stripes. All right, we're past 20 minutes, so it's a fashion video. We're gonna see how long it goes. We'll wrap up soon. One other thing that transitioned from summer to fall is there's kind of macro trends and micro trends. The micro trends are the really flash in the pan ones, like you probably saw in my spring fashion video. We talked about a preppy destination, vacation destination core, where you get a sweater that says, "Oh, I went to Bermuda" or whatever. You notice that came and went, right? Now, one other one that was semi-micro was a TennisCore, or I like to call it Wimbleton Chic, which is real tennis inspired. I do think that was media inspired because there was a movie called Challengers. I didn't see the movie, but it was very tennis inspired. It was like a tennis based story. I love Zendaya. The premise of it with the relationship between three people I wasn't real keen on. That's probably why I didn't watch the movie, because I think that's kind of squicky. But other than that, a lot of the tennis outfits really came into influence. And you saw a lot of pleated skirts and V-necks and polo t-shirts. You saw a lot of that this summer, and I think a lot of those white skirts. Now, one other thing that kind of transitioned into is Wimbleton, the tennis event, and you saw a lot of celebrities going to that event. And what that kind of is that is kind of TennisCore. That's really kind of upscale, dignified, and you see a lot of suits. But you do also see a lot of the pleated skirts and really kind of variations of that kind of very polished kind of prep look, and I thought it was really pretty. And I really predict that kind of theme of dress is what's going to transition into fall, because you see a lot of vests, you see a lot of bows around the neck, you see a lot of white or more summer colors kind of transitioning into fall colors. Now I will say that one thing that I noticed that was really nice about that was you saw a lot of the striped kind of summer dresses, but there was a lot of really variation of just a pretty tennis dress, and it can be kind of understated where it doesn't look full on sport-esque. One other honorable mention is, I know that he is Taylor Swift's ex and Leftovers, but God, Joe Alwyn looked hot. He looks so GQ. Very nice. A plus Joe. One other thing that we could talk about is with tennis being kind of like a sport, the other thing is it is the Summer Olympics. So of course, if you want to wear your country's colors, or I'm kind of big again to avoid waste. I don't think that you should buy a bunch of branded stuff that has the Olympic symbol with the year, just because that can become very dated very quickly. But if you like the Olympic colors, like Olympic rings, why don't you wear you know, red hoop earrings and then a yellow t-shirt, and, you know, kind of get the colors in a kind of color blocking, rather than having a bunch of branded logos, just because logos tend to be on the outs faster, and that's what contributes to a lot of waste. But of course, you know, show your pride however you want to do that. The other thing is, again, you know, in the summertime, I live in the United States. We just celebrated the 4th of July. We're in the Olympics. If you want to wear red, white, and blue, you know, red is a very powerful color for both, that transitions very easily into spring and fall, as does blue and white. So just any variation of those colors, or, you know, the shapes of your flag, looks really great. We are going to touch a little bit on shoes. I'm not a big shoes person, but this kind of theme, kind of the summer theme, kind of plays into it. I get blisters very easily. You've probably seen in my my beach videos. I've bought cute sandals that have just blistered the hell out of me. And one shoe that I really endorse, because I believe in I don't believe in buying cute looking shoes just to wear once. I believe in buying durable shoes that you can wear as much as possible. That's how you stay green with it, is when you wear it 30 times or more. These are your shoes. They're not supposed to be, you know, a fashion statement. I believe they're supposed to be functional. But one pair of shoes that I've used a lot, and I'm seeing kind of with both TennisCore and a lot of these outfits that you're wearing over the summer and the fall, is a good pair of boat shoes. And when I say boat shoes, I mean like a pair of slip-ons. And I actually have a pair. The first pair that I had was by Mad Love, and they were actually sold at Target, and they were actually the soles were made with recyclable plastic or rubber, and recycled rubber, and they were the best shoes. I wore them to death. I still have them. It's just I'm kind of heavy heeled, and I'm starting to wear down the sole of them. And those were like about $25-$30 at Target. I did go online, and from Roxy, which is the surf shop, I found a comparable pair. Oh my gosh. And they were more expensive. I mean, it's a shame that you gotta search for this style to replace it, but very durable material, and I got it for $40, and they're just a pair of white shoes. You don't even have to tie the laces. They're kind of knotted off, so you just slip your feet in, tug on the strings to tighten up, and you go. And I saw a lot of that in the kind of the TennisCore, you know, just a good pair of like slip-ons, you know, Vans slip-ons, or just a good pair of white boat shoes, or just, you know, kind of your bum around shoes, like a good pair of like almost summer loafers. Those have been everywhere, and I just noticed that they're a great go-to, and they're very green in the fact that you just wear them, you use them, right? And the other nice thing is that if one other summer trend that I saw was that there was a lot of capri pants, like the ones that cut off at the knee, and those type of just a good pair of white slip-ons with that, like those white slip-ons, those look perfect with capris. It looks very 60s mod is what it looks. The other thing that looks good is those I'm sorry, the Bermuda shorts. They look good with that. I wore mine today, and they looked fabulous. So that's a good pair of shoes. One other pair of summer shoes that would transition that I've seen a lot are fisherman sandals. And again, you know, those are kind of 80s-esque, but they're just comfortable, and they're ventilated, and I just think they work so much better, and they're just a good way to go. Now, the next style that we're going to talk about is, and I'll post it down below. W Magazine had a great article that talked, I think W Magazine actually really nailed the fall trends. It seems like you kind of have to go to YouTube or go to Pinterest to see what's actual trending without it being like just regurgitated past, you know, we don't have magazines the way that we used to. The online content is really, you know, is influencer based. So, but I think W Magazine really got it straight with some of these fall trends. And one of the trends, and I love the way that they phrased it, is ladies who lunch. And ladies who lunch are kind of like a piggyback off of the TennisCore, the Wimbleton core. It is kind of New York high society. It's basically just really polished, you know, dresses, you know, very elegant kind of upscale dressing, almost like you're going to a fancy brunch, right? And what I think of, and I do think this is media related, is if you've watched Hulu, the FX series Feud, Capote versus the Swans, I think you'll see the style epitomized in that series, because all of the New York women, the Swans, and Capote kind of, they had a restaurant that they used to lunch at. The what you would wear when you're doing those kind of luncheons is the core of the style. And I did watch the series. I thought it was interesting. It was interesting. And of course, he compares the swans to being black swans. So you can kind of, again, we're media influenced. If you ever want to, I saw a cute little Swarovski crystal black swan necklace. There's black swan clips. Basically, you can kind of, dress this up. But two of the characters that were really mentioned was there's a New York socialite named Babe. And her style was just incredible. And one dress that I saw her wear that I so just got hard eyes over was it was like this vertical stripe. And when she moves, the movement of it, it's like the stripes go, contract and expand. And just the visual of it was just created this hourglass silhouette. And it just looked so classy. It looked like 50s, 60s. Elegant, and that dress really stuck out. And then there was another actress, Chloe, I never say her last name right, Savani, Chloe Sevigny, and she was a 90s it girl, by the way. She also played another one of the Swans in the series, and her fashion was really on par too. She was more of like a Connecticut, Massachusetts kind of style. But that dress and basically those kind of polished separates are really kind of like the ladies who lunch kind of style, and that's going to be very in. And actually, my birthday is coming up, and I always indulge on my birthday and allow myself to get one pretty outfit, whether that's thrifted. I always try to thrift or vintage shop. But I did find a knit dress that is very similar to the Babe dress, and that's going to be my birthday outfit. And now that does kind of bridge into knit. Knit dresses are very popular. There's a video by Anna Reed that I'll post. I really love her channel. She does buy a lot of new, but she does talk about, natural fabrics, and, her sister-in-law buys, has videos about how to vintage shop and thrift shop. But Anna Reed is a big fan of knit dresses. She feels like they're crochet dresses. My only I don't mind crocheted tops, like, throw over tops for bathing suits, but I'm not really big on crocheted dresses, because anything that has holes or bigger kind of knit, when you go to wash it, it stretches out. It's like it can lose its shape very easily. And actually the knit dress that I got has that same problem. It's knit. So again, look at the tag. If it's something you have to hand wash or put a lot of effort into maintaining, that might not be a piece that you wear so much. And also with dresses, it's, we love to buy a pretty dress, but how often do you actually wear it out, right? So I keep that in mind, but I'm all on board. I do love knit dresses. It's just, I wouldn't advise ones that are really open knit, because those can lose its shape. Those are very hard. You either have to dry clean them, which has a lot of chemicals, or when you have to lay it flat to dry. So a lot of maintenance with washing. But the dress that I got, of course, I always wash before I wear, and it wasn't too bad. It was not too bad. It was able to, I was able to, wash and dry it. But just bear in mind, if you do something that's a knit, the chances of it stretching out or becoming, a little deformed, that always comes into play whenever you have a sweater or something like that. And we're going into fall, you're going to be dealing with a lot of sweaters. Now, to flip the coin on the elegant ladies who lunch, we're going to go back into a little bit of the mob wife aesthetic. Now, mob wife was, and no offense, I talked about this in a previous video about the one other theme that you're seeing is cheetah print. And I'm actually very proud of this, because in one of my previous videos, I forget which one it was, but I kept seeing cheetah kind of pop up on the radar, and I did go to the thrift store, and I'm very proud of myself. I found a little button-up sweater, cardigan that's 100% cotton, bought pre-owned, that is cheetah print with pockets. It has pockets. Gotta have pockets. pockets. But cheetah print is everywhere. I'm seeing it everywhere, and it is here. And again, I don't encourage you. This cheetah is very easy to thrift, and I would say start thrifting now. It's hot as the blazes. Everyone's still wearing shorts and tank tops. If you go in and start looking for your cheetah print, cardigans now, you're going to have a good chance of finding it, and it's very easy to thrift. You do not need to buy this new. If you do need to buy it new, I saw a couple places that have it in cotton, just 100% cotton. And honestly, you see it in accessories too. I'm seeing it on, the straps of bags. So you don't have to commit full to a top or a skirt, but it is very mob wife. The other thing that I'm seeing that's kind of going hand in hand with that is that on a lot of the runways, you're seeing like the fuzzy brown fur coats. Now, again, a lot of them are vegan fur, which is just all polyester. I don't encourage that. If you want to go the brown bear fuzzy jacket to go over your leopard print for your aesthetic, please go to the thrift store. You can either find a real fur. You can go on eBay, find a real fur, or you can, if you are going to buy the polyester one, buy it secondhand. We don't need to be creating new jackets out of this. That just is unnecessary. And honestly, if you do find one of those cheetah print existing skirts, dresses, tops, a good opaque black hose, and I know people hate pantyhose, but if you do like a taupe opaque pantyhose, oh my god, black heel, you're gonna be, that's really on the forefront. You're gonna see cheetah print, the traditional print. Now, this kind of flips into outerwear and accessories. We're in the home stretch, guys. Outerwear, again, we're the fluffy bear coats you're going to see. One other 90s trends that you're going to see a lot is puffer jackets, like the, kind of like the ski jackets, and they are going to be more cropped. Now, if you are going to decide to do it, I don't wear puffer jackets because of the concern with feathers. I actually have a video here on this channel called Feathers. It's very inhumane to animals, to birds, for how the feathers are, collected. There are some brands that reuse feathers, recycle them. And if you watch my video, it talks all about that. There's barcodes on the little tag. But again, those are also jackets that you can get secondhand. Those, was it Big Fat Goose was a brand in the 90s. You can go on eBay and find these jackets without having to buy it new. You're keeping it out of a landfill. You're reusing resources. When that garment's already in creation, it doesn't need to be created again, especially when it involves feathers. But cropped puffer jackets are going to be a theme. It's something you're going to see. Please watch the Feathers video. It talks all about it. The other thing is, please, if you want to watch a few of these other videos that talk about what to look for when there's a great video that I posted on online, and I'll put it down below, that talks about how to not get sucked in by the trend. And one of the tricks that you can do is, if you see a trend and you think, oh gosh, that looks so great on that model, and this sounds funny, try cutting off the model's head and just looking at the clothes, or maybe even doing Photoshop and putting your face on the body. And I know that sounds so strange, but half the time that we think that the trend is going to look good on us is because of exposure. Believe it or not, that's a thing. The more you see it, the more you think, oh, I could pull that off. That's good for me, right? But you're also getting sucked in by how pretty the model is. And I know it's a psychological thing. It's like, if I buy that, I'll look like that. And I know that sounds strange, but that's really a psychological thing. But if you're thinking about a trend, kind of cut off the model's head. I know that sounds cruel, but it works. And check out that video. It was very interesting the way she described it. It helps you piece through the psychology of it. But the other thing that you can do is look at, kind of Google images where it didn't work. And there's actually a famous, and I know I get on the Kardashians all the time, but there was Kendall Jenner had worn this puffer jacket one year, and the way that her pockets went in, it was just a bad photo. It really, the style, the shape of the jacket with her hands in it made for a really bad silhouette. It made her look like she had like 10,000 pound boobs that were hanging down to her waist. I'm sorry, that was the silhouette. It got a lot of media exposure because of just how it didn't look good. So that kind of backfired. And again, when you're looking at things like puffer jackets and stuff, it might not be the trend for you. You know, use your best judgment, go for the style, buy it secondhand, and really think about it before you invest in it, right? The last thing is Pea Coats, which is almost like fisherman jackets, sailors' coats. They almost look kind of like soldiers' coats. I'm actually all down for this trend because I have a pea coat that I use it as kind of my bum around jacket. Like anytime it's cold and I'm just going for a walk, and it's stood. I think it's more than 17 years old. I think it's more than 20 years old now, and it has served me really well. And the lining is polyester, but the outside of it is wool. And it's just been a great coat. So pea coats you're going to see a lot on the runway. Again, I don't think you should run out and buy one, but if you're thrifting, and again, now is the time. If you're, checking out as you're getting ready for back to school, if you're in the thrift store, it's still hot as the blazes out. You could go over to the winter accessories and maybe find a few gems, and pea coats are kind of a classic staple. You could probably find a nice one. Now, in the name of accessories, and we're just going to touch on this and be all done, there was one London video. There was a really sweet girl who does fashion advice, but you can tell she lives in London. She talked about horse print. Like horse print has been kind of a back burner, a dark horse trend, pun intended. So horse print has been something. One other print that I saw, and I was actually trying to replicate a picture. What I like to do is just like Pinterest. There was a movie called Mannequin that starred Kim Cattrall, and it's one of my favorite movies. It's cheesy, but I like it. And in that movie, she actually has this great outfit. She has this kind of fedora hat, and she has this jacket, and underneath she has a t-shirt that has stars on it. And actually at the beginning of this year, I think back in the winter spring 2024, Stella McCartney had this t-shirt that was white with like kind of turquoise and pink stars. It looked like a little 80s t-shirt, like a little, like something like if you were raised in the 80s and you had Care Bears and My Little Pony, it looked like that kind of t-shirt. But I was actually looking for that t-shirt because it looked, I was trying to again emulate the picture of Kim Cattrall, and I came very close. It's just I could not find a t-shirt that was white with the pink and blue stars. So that I think is going to be a print that was kind of like a sleeper kind of undercurrent kind of trend. And again, if you go to a thrift store and find it, you're finding a gem. Now, just one other thing, two other things, and then we'll wrap up. Ribbons, I know, have been around forever. You think they'd be tired by now, but I'm seeing a lot of ribbons that are acting as ties for shirts. Like that was very popular over the summer and spring. Also, ties in the back or ribbons all over skirts. So you're seeing kind of a crossover again of kind of that 90s high collared with bows places. So bows is still here. I'm going to post a video by Beep World. It's BEEPWORLD. She actually lives in the same state I do. So I did not know that. So I keep wondering if I'm going to see her at a thrift store somewhere. If you ever want to thrift together, call me. But she's got wonderful ideas. She loves to thrift. And what she liked to do is one of the ideas that she had is with spaghetti straps, if you tie little ribbons around the spaghetti straps of just a regular tank top, that looks so pretty. The other thing that I'm seeing is that little ribbons, like little satin ribbons on the back of cuff socks. That's been a thing, and in her video she talks about that. Instead of going out and spending money on little frilly socks that have bows on it, why don't you either pin a bow? And she did that. She pinned a bow on her socks, and it looked freaking adorable. And then later, if the trend goes, you can unpin it, or if you really like it, you could sew the bow on. She did such a great job. It was like a DIY, and you could not tell that she did not go to like Anthropologie and buy the $20 bowed socks. That's the other thing I'm seeing too, is also I'm seeing sheer socks, almost like the sheer netting thing. I'm not real big on that, just because, just like I talked about, I'm sensitive about my feet. Maybe it's because I'm middle-aged. I just like padding on my socks. If it's sheer like that, I just feel like I'll be wearing them out. And socks, if you see the top of the socks, that's what really matters, because that's what people see. The rest of it, most of the time socks are polyester and they don't breathe well. So even if they're net, you still, unless they're 100% cotton or a natural fiber, they're not breathing, even if it's netting. But I did see that too. I saw little net socks. Now, last thing, and we'll be all done, is we're going to go into accessories a little bit. Purses are always a big thing. I truly believe you never have to buy a purse new. All of the purse trends have been recycled for decades, and to be honest, it's like you don't need to buy a new purse. But one style that's been very popular is kind of a barrel bag, like with the rounded edges. It is almost like a baguette bag, which is very 2000s as well. It's very Carrie Bradshaw, goes right under your armpit. But the ones that we're seeing have more of a rounded end to them and a zipper opening, and I do think that they're super cute. A lot of them have the ability to add extensions to the handle, so you can either go with the shorter handle, or you could I've been seeing a lot of resin chain link or just regular chain link kind of extender that you could put on the straps. Some of these resins are recycled plastic or recycled resin. I know like Coach has a 70% recycled resin strap, but then 30% is still new resin. So, and again, anytime something has to be created, it's going to create waste. But those have been very popular, and so I see that. Now, this kind of ties in. It's not really usual that a color would be trending for fall, but this fall, just like we've been kind of seeing a juxtaposition of colors, we saw summer black, which is typically more of a fall color. You are seeing fall pastels. So you are still seeing a lot of the pastels, like pastel greens, pastel yellows. But one color that I've seen that's kind of standing out a whole lot is turquoise. I'm a modern eco girl in a modern world. There's a channel called by Cassie Thorpe, and she is a self-diagnosed luxury addict. Her dad actually works for a petroleum company, so she buys really high-end fancy things, but she's unabashedly herself, and she is very honest about the purchases she makes, and her channel is actually really good. She does call out those practices where someone's charging you luxury prices, but they're not giving you luxury quality product. And yes, she does have a lot of things, so she's kind of the antithesis of my channel, but I do find her channel entertaining, especially there was a Tiffany, just like I like the Tiffany bone cuff wristless, there was a Tiffany bone cuff ring that was new, and I was like watching her channel to see what she thought of the quality of that ring, and she actually bought one. So, but one of her recent videos, so again, it's just fantasy watching her videos, because she's very entertaining. She's a very sweet girl. She's very stylish, really beautiful girl. But she bought a turquoise Louis Vuitton bag, and it's ridiculously expensive, very exclusive. But in her video, she talks about it, and that turquoise color I am seeing everywhere for fall. So really, again, you don't have to buy the $8,000 luxury handbag. She even said herself that was like the equivalent of like 4 or 5 bags for her budget. So she went out on a splurge for it. But when she talked about it, it is very, so the turquoise colored bags, and again, if you buy that secondhand off eBay, if you look for like a turquoise colored bag and you buy it pre-owned, that's going to be very in for fall. And you can find quality things. Again, some of the stuff that you buy new is not as quality made as something that you can buy vintage online. And a lot of these styles are just recycling themselves. You buy a turquoise bag, you don't know that that's from the spring season of 2017, and you're just wearing it for spring pastels for fall now. No one's gonna know. How are they going to know? How would they know? So, and actually that plays into my little scrapbook too, is that Louis Vuitton, again, is having a good year with that turquoise bag. And if you look at it, the Louis Vuitton, what do they call it? The Murakami bag, the rainbow monogram bag. That's what the turquoise bag really reminds me of, is the Murakami bag from Louis Vuitton. I think it's like kind of that same caliber. I think they're having just like they hit a home run with that rainbow logo. I think they're hitting a home run with this turquoise one, and they have other colors too, but I'm not saying buy it. I'm just saying that if you have a leather turquoise bag that is, that you bought pre-owned, or if you see it in a thrift store and you like that style, that would fill this void. And then the last thing, and then we are all done, we're going to leave on a high note, is there has been a big trend of accessorizing your bag, in particularly the Birkin bag, which, again, talking about bags that no one can afford, a Birkin bag, which you have to put on a waiting list for, and the smallest, even mini version, is like $14,000 base. The trend that you're seeing, and I'll post a video by Cassie Thorpe that talks about this. She really defined it well, because she said, okay, this is how companies get you. This is how luxury companies get new consumers in the door. This is how they give you like the taste of luxury, to get you started with buying with them, right? They start small. And what they did is that there's a trend with the Birkin bag where you start adorning it with cute little things. I think it did start internationally with little fuzzy like keychains, like character keychains. But what you saw, and this was actually inspired by, I think, Jane Birkin herself, is that on her Birkin bag, she puts little charms of all the places that she's been, showing, little important things that shows where she's, things she's done, or charms that were given to her by people. So that is a beautiful sentiment. That's something that I think is really cute. But the only thing is that she accumulated that over time and experience. And what I'm seeing, and where I think it gets a little wasteful, is I'm seeing people wanting to emulate that by buying, luxury charms, paying a lot of money to these luxury companies for the little charms that they can put on their bags. And the problem is that yes, they might have actually been there or done that, but it's consumerism. You're buying a bunch of them at once. It's not like you accumulated them because you went to this and experienced this, and so you got that charm. And I would, the other thing that's kind of ridiculous about it is that you're putting all of this on the outside of your bag, and these charms are not cheap. They can fall off or be knocked off. The other thing is, it kind of reminds me like a while back when the fad, the micro trend of the cups, when those cups came out, they had all these accessories, like you could put a snack dish on top and you could put a charm on top. It defeats the purpose. You've got all this crap hanging off the cup. It looks ridiculous, and it actually kind of defeats the purpose of having a purse. Right? You have a purse to put things in the purse. So it kind of throws me. I'm not knocking it because, and I'm a hypocrite too, because I got this cute little Italian leather bag at the thrift store, and my mom had sent me a keychain of a Dutch hound, and I love Dutch hounds, and I put it on the outside of my bag, and it was adorable. When I would walk, the Dutch hound would move, and it would look like the dog was jumping. So I think it's an adorable trend. And again, if it's something like that, like it's a charm that your parent gave to you, or it's a memento of someplace that you've went, I do think that looks cute. The only other thing is that those bags, when you put a bunch of little charms, sometimes they can have hard edges that might be scratching the leather of your bag. And if it's a freaking Birkin bag, $15,000, are you going to want to scuff it up with a bunch of little doodads? I'm not knocking it. I think one or two little charms that are that you didn't just run out and buy because it's a fad, that meant something to you or was given to you by someone, I think that's fine. I also think that if it's not scratching up your bag, those, you know, just everything in moderation, you know, that trend looks kind of cute. And that might be something that you can do already. If you just take out your favorite leather bag and, you know, and again, no judgment. It doesn't have to be a Birkin. If you have little charms or little, you know, little keychains that you think is not going to hurt your bag, not going to scratch up the hardware. You know, the other thing is when you're attaching it, sometimes you have to, you know, you don't want to scratch your hardware, you don't want to scratch your leather, but that would be a fun way to be in with the fall trends. And that is kind of a bridge from summer to fall. And it might be things that you already have. And that's what I encourage, you know, let it be your favorite bag that you already have. Like me and my Dutch Hound. I don't need to go out and buy anything. I have all of that. And I bought that bag, and it's a beautiful bag. I bought it, you know, for like $20 at the thrift store, and it's solid, Italian leather. And it's adorable. So so that is something, that is a trend for fall that you can do. And if you want, you can watch the video. Cassie Thorpe does have a good channel, but I don't think she comes from the perception of being very green. She buys luxury things, but I just thought her analysis of it was very, very smart. And she does give you good feedback if you do decide to splurge on that designer item thing, you know, that heart's desire, okay, once in a lifetime, I really want this thing. She's kind of a good feedback person to talk about whether or not it's a good buy. But all right, guys, I think we covered it all. This is going to be a long video, but I've made it up to you. Okay, we skipped 2 weeks ago. You didn't get a video. Now you get double a video. But please let me know what you think. If there's anything I left off, I know there's a lot of little percolating stuff. The other thing is, what would you like to see on your bingo card? You know, what would you like to see that's, you know, either from the 90s or the 2000s, or something that you see just kind of percolating that you think would be a good fall trend? Please feel free to comment. Also, if you are new to this channel, I would be very honored if you would like and subscribe. That really helps my channel grow. And as always, you know, look to thrift, look for natural fibers, buy it secondhand, make it your own with things you already have. And I promise you that's being green. And, you know, just wear it as much as you can. But all right, guys, I hope you have a good 2 weeks, and I will be back soon with a new video. Till then, take care. Bye.